Hello, makers. This is Miss Dehart here, or Teacher Zig, whichever. So you are going to be going through this slideshow. I want to show you where this slideshow is in Google Classroom. If you go into Google Classroom, it's going to be under Current Cycle, and this is the Portraits and Personality slideshow. So you are going to need this at some point during this Edpuzzle. So I'm going to go back to my slideshow, and I'm going to present. So we are starting a self-portrait unit, and we're going to dive into this and talk about what self-portraits are. So here are some examples of some artists that made self-portraits. One is made out of like a charcoal. This is a painting. Here we have a photographer, and these both are paintings as well. So what do you think a self-portrait is? If you see these, what do you think a self-portrait is? So why a self-portrait? So if you haven't thought of it, a self-portrait is a picture of yourself, like a selfie. So art is self-expression. Whether it's a person or a thing or place, you are expressing yourself, okay, in art. You can use art to explore your personality and interact with the world around us. Self-portraits can also help you think about the way you think about yourself and how you present yourself to the world. How do you want people to take you in? They're also a good thing to keep to look back at how you thought of yourself and how you looked at a certain time. When you are an old person like me, you'll be able to look at your art and see what you were seeing during that time in your life, like a memory. So after this lesson, you will be able to apply the knowledge of the human face and the proportions and features of the human face, understand why we make self-portraits, and create meaning in your art. So the first self-portrait I want to talk about is Frida Kahlo, and this is called The Two Fridas, and she painted this in 1939. You might be familiar with Frida. This is a self-portrait. This is one of the most notable and recognized pieces of Frida Kahlo work. This depicts two versions of Frida seated together. The painting symbolizes her pain during her divorce from Diego Rivera and the changes in her identity that it resulted from. Who's ever gone through a really bad breakup and you changed as a person? Frida on the left is wearing a white European style dress, a costume she donned before her marriage to Diego. During their marriage, she started to explore the traditional Mexican heritage. Yes, she was Mexican. Because of this, the other Frida is depicted in the traditional Mexican costume. So if you were to make a self-portrait piece of art, how could you show the different parts of your personality in your artwork? So next we're going to take a look at Gustave Courbet, and this was painted in 1845. That's a long time ago. This artist is showing tons of emotion in this image. Their eyes are wide open. There's really dramatic lighting and shadows. All of this really comes together to give you an idea of who this artist is and what he was feeling. So this is a self-portrait with halo and snake, and it's by an artist named Paul Gauguin. Paul was known for his very colorful pieces, and this one was no exception. It has many different bold colors, interesting imagery in the painting. Yeah, the face kind of and the hand are very kind of realistic with the color and the shading. This is a great example of a portrait that shows the personality of the subject, as well as showing knowledge of his technical aspects, like his ability to paint a face. Gauguin added snakes and apples into the painting as religious iconography. What object could you use in your artwork to represent yourself? So here's a piece by M.C. Escher. And sometimes you see M.C. Escher taught in math classes with his tessellations, but he was also a traditional art maker. And this is called Hand with Reflecting Sphere. And this was painted in 1935. So M.C. Escher is a Dutch artist, and he was really fascinated by unusual vantage points. This is a lithograph, so it was like carved and made out of acid on metal and then printed. And it's a hand with reflecting sphere, also known as a self-portrait in a spherical mirror. It also shows the hand that's holding the reflective sphere so that you can see the artist and his surroundings. Like you can see in his little library there, or his little study. I don't know if it's a little dining room or a little office space with his little chair, and you can see the bookshelf above his head. Escher does something unusual and shows the way he made the portrait rather than just presenting the piece of his own face. This shows he is less interested in his own image and more interested in depicting the way that he creates. So here's another Frida piece. And this is a self-portrait with thorn necklace and hummingbird. And again, it's by Frida Kahlo. Something that is often seen in Frida's work is nature, plants, flowers, leaves, animals. They were all really common, and they were added to backgrounds in her portrait. These represent things that she cared about and ideas that she wanted to represent in her artwork. What could the thorn necklace in this artwork represent about Frida? So we're going to be doing a mind reader activity. I'm calling it mind reader. And you're going to be choosing a portrait from one of the next 5 slides. You are going to write about it as though you know exactly what is in this person's mind and who they are. You're going to use clues from the portrait. You will talk about who that person sees themselves as, what other people might think, and what they want to show the world, as if you can read the mind of the subject. You're going to attempt to write in full sentences, and you're going to talk about the questions on the following slide. Also, please give me the number of the portrait you choose so that when I am going through and looking at your work, it's easy for me to score. So right now I want you to pause and go open your Google slideshow so that you can see these portraits better. You can just have it on a split screen, or you can have it on a separate tab, but you're going to need to go to Google Classroom under current cycle, and you're going to need to open the slideshow so that you can look at the artists. Go do that now. So these are the questions you're going to want to answer. How does this person see themselves? What do they care about? What do they think about other people that think about them? What do they think of themselves? What emotions may they be feeling? How does this person want the world to see them? Remember, you are pretending you know these things. See if you can make a convincing description of the person with just an image. So here's the first piece, or here's my example rather. So this is not a portrait that you're going to get to choose from. This is my piece that I chose, but you're going to have 5 to pick from. So my example, I think this person sees himself as smart, but he's unique. He cares about his cats, and he is a good cat dad. Other people see him as odd, shy, and a gentle person. This person has lots of feelings, both positive and anxiety ridden. He likes to meditate and do yoga when his anxiety gets the best of him. He hopes other people see him as kind and unique. He also hopes people see how awesome cats are as pets. So that's my example. So these are the pictures that you're going to get to pick from. Portraits to choose from. So here's your choice 1, choice 2, choice 3, choice 4, choice 5. So again, these are your choices, and these are the questions that you are going to answer. So I am going to pause here. So these are some other artists. If you are really interested in portraiture, portrait artists to Google, these are some names here of people that were included in the slideshow. I also have some links attached to these photos that you could explore. You have to go into the slideshow and click on Frida. And also here, this is an article about a man who documented his face as he became ill with Alzheimer's. It's a really good read. It's a very quick read. So next you're going to go in to the assignment in Google Classroom, and it's called a personality quiz choice board. You are going to be picking one of these quizzes embedded in these images. So there are some websites embedded in here, and they are quizzes, and you pick one. You're going to choose one of the quizzes to take, and you will reflect on the results of your quiz. So you're going to go to Google Classroom, and you're going to complete that. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing your art.